Hello, welcome to another episode of Be Loved. So glad you're tuning in again. And I just get so excited to interview people and hear their stories. That was just one of the things that inspired me to even start doing this, is because I just know some of the most interesting people and some of the best people. And I love being able to give them a platform to share their story, to be a witness to what God has done in their life and is still doing. And I just want to thank you for taking time to listen and to share this. You may know a friend or someone that needs to hear what my guest is going to talk about today. But not only does it mean a lot to me that you're listening in, but to the person sharing their story. It's not easy to share your story with the world. So just sit back and take a listen, and we just pray that whatever is said today is going to bless you, going to impact your life, and just help you um, even connect more with this God that we talk about. I don't know, maybe you're here today listening and thinking, I don't even know if I even believe. And that's okay. I'm glad you're tuning in today. And I hope that we can share something that will just maybe spark something in you that causes you to open your heart and let Jesus minister to you today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have a very special guest, and because he is getting ready to marry one of my very best friends. So I'm going to let him kind of share who that is.
I'll be Sherry Long. We're engaged and we'll be married the end of this summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah. Awesome.
I know it is so awesome. You're getting a good one.
God continues to bless me every day.
And I know according to her, she's getting a good one, because I'm still getting to know you. But so far, so good.
Yeah. There you go. Come on.
But, well, I tell you what, I'm going to let Chris share a little bit about his background or whatever he wants to tell you about himself, and then we're going to get into his story. So Chris, just tell us where you're from and what you do, or whatever you want to share about yourself.
Chris Round, 88 Bulldog alumni. Come on. Moved down here from North Missouri in 86, so I'm not a native for sure. I have 3 kids, grown kids. I have I better get this right. I have 6 grandkids.
Wow, you are blessed.
Soon to multiply, so that's exciting.
How many will that be?
Oh, man. What? Oh,
she's sitting in the corner over here.
That high. 15? Oh, my God.
15 total?
That's awesome.
Wow.
There you have it. I knew that. I just wanted to. Anyhow, yeah. I grew up in a little Presbyterian church up in North Missouri, and moved down here with my folks. And I work at Prime Trucking in Springfield as a logistics manager, and I've been there 22 years.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yep. That's
now, a little bit you went to school with one of my sisters, right?
I did. Yeah.
Which one was that?
Tabby.
With Tabby. Are y'all in the same class?
I think I'm either a year or 2
younger.
Older. Yeah. No.
Younger. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm a little older, I think. So.
Well, I'm quite a bit older, so I don't really remember you in school. Of course, I was probably gone by the time you got in high school.
Right.
Of course, I was.
I was a wild and crazy guy back then.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I'll have to ask Tabby to share a few stories.
Maybe settled down these days, thank goodness. So.
Well, I am really excited to kind of dig into your story a little bit. And this is going to be something that I've never had anyone on my podcast that's had this experience yet. So I just can't wait for you to share the details. And I just know a little bit about it. So I'm actually hearing his story for the first time. Sherry has shared a little bit with me last year when this took place, but I haven't heard the details. So, and I wanted to wait because I wanted Chris to share it with you all the same time that he shares with me. So why don't you take us back? Was it last year that you?
So 2024, I started having neck pain, and go to my doctor and just trying to figure out what's going on. And it would radiate across my shoulder, down my arm, out my fingers, and just excruciating. Never had pain like that before. So, they put me on nerve pain medicine and steroids, and even my doctor's like, you probably need to go to a chiropractor. So I'm going to a chiropractor 4 or 5 times a week.
Oh my gosh.
Just trying to get relief in my neck, because it was just.
Did that help you any?
No. And I did that for 6 weeks. Guys like, I'll fix you in 6 weeks. And so I bought into that. And every morning, 6 o'clock, I was going over there, and I'm like, man, I'm not getting any better. And one day I just couldn't take it, the pain anymore. And I went to the emergency room at Cox in Springfield. They got me a CAT scan, ordered an MRI, and then referred me to the Springfield Springfield Bone Center in Cox. I hope I got their name right. Good people. And so finally got into a neurosurgeon, and he reviewed my MRI. He told me that I had bone spurs in my neck, and that it was pinching several nerves, and that was what was causing the pain. And I remember the day I went in for the initial consultation, and I mean, I was on fire. I was in a lot of pain, and he could tell. And he just told me, this is the only way you're going to get relief, long-term relief. And I'm like, sign me up. Let's do it. I've never experienced pain like that. I'm like, let's just get it done. And fortunately, they had an opening in 2 weeks. They had a cancellation, so It went quick.
That's a miracle in itself.
It was awesome. And so we was getting ready for that. I will have to confess that I was pretty anxious leading up to the surgery.
Oh, I definitely would be.
I haven't really had surgery before, and man, just something come over me. It's like I just felt like something was going to happen to me, and it was an overnight procedure. Of course, my kids are all saying, "Dad, you're good. You're good." And
so you were telling people
I'm telling
that,
my kids, and I've got like 5 pages of notes for my kids.
Really?
What to do, who to call, how to do it. This is what I want to happen if something happens.
Wow.
So I just had something was just pulling on my heart that something could happen. So fast forward, morning, it was a Thursday morning, January 25th, 2024. And 6 a.m. we're at Cox Hospital. Sherry takes me. Thank you. A little backstory. My mother is having back surgery the same day, the same group of surgeons at the same hospital.
Oh my
And so Sherry and I are sitting in these set of chairs, and my mother and father are sitting right there, and she's waiting to go back for her back surgery. So I'm going to tell you, don't ever schedule a surgery the same day you're one of your parents or someone in your family.
Yeah.
It was coincidence. Hers had been rescheduled 3 or 4 times, and I just took the first available. The surgeon checked out.
That's wild that it would be the same.
Had great reviews, and so that was kind of awkward. Not awkward, but it was. You'll find out a little later.
Yeah.
So they called us back, and Sherry prayed for me, and they took me in for surgery. And
had you told Sherry that you were feeling this way?
I think I had told her that I was pretty anxious, and yeah.
Okay.
So there was quite a section dedicated to Sherry on my pages. So
I bet there was.
Anyhow, come through surgery fine. It was a fusion of my 5, 6, 6, 7 disc, and so they cut you on the front. I don't know if you can see it from there, but they cut you in from the front.
Oh my god!
Not the back. And so it looks it's faded now, but people see you got your throat cut, and it's like, yeah. And so anyhow, went in, they fused together to my disc. They go in and get rid of the bone spurs, and then I don't have to tell you about all the surgery, but it was more involved than I thought. But anyhow, they put me, it was an overnight procedure, put me back in a room, recovery, and then they put me in the room for the evening. Sherry was there, my kids were there. So everybody had come and made the rounds and said howdy ho and how you doing, and it was about.
And you're awake, and you're.
So I'm awake, I'm up and about, and I think they, I had dinner, and so I'm out of surgery probably by 7:30, and so recovered, and then they put me in a room on, I believe, on the 7th floor. They have a whole wing there, this bone and spine center. So probably around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm getting very anxious, agitated. I know something is going wrong. I'm just really, I'm up pacing. I didn't know what for sure what was going on, but I knew something was up. And I kind of shooed my kids away, told them to go home. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that. So they left. Sherry was still there with me, thank goodness. Yeah. So closer to 6 o'clock, my neck is starting to swell up. I'm having a hard time talking, and I'm kind of got a little squeaky voice. I don't want to demonstrate it, but it's kind of it was not my normal voice, and I was just laboring. I was struggling, and sorry.
No, it's all right.
I remember I said, Sherry, get my kids here quick. I think I'm going to die.
Oh my goodness.
And it, sorry. It just swept me. I knew I was not long for this world. I knew I was going to die.
Wow.
She came back in, brought my nurse back in. They got the surgeon, got a whole team of people. I'll tell you about that. But my neck was filling up with blood. I had active bleeders in my neck. And so the drain they had was not wasn't draining. And it just was going like this.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was cutting off my trach. I just couldn't breathe. And so I just couldn't get any air. And it's just a terrible, helpless feeling. And I'm just like, God help.
I can't even imagine.
And had a nurse that was awesome, and she took charge and was really in command and just spouting out orders. And I remember.
Are you aware of things going on around you at this point?
I'm still aware.
Okay.
I'm up. I'm pacing around the room. I'm just stay alive at this point because I can't breathe. And they put me in bed. I get out of bed.
Oh my gosh.
So neurosurgeon was there. It was in the same group, not the original surgeon. Dr. Ramon, I give him props. He was there. He should have been gone hours ago. The pulmonologist was there. He should have been gone hours ago. There was a whole team of people that should have been gone hours ago.
Wow.
And they were still there. So it was perfect timing, if that's possible. So they got the surgical team is there. There's like 20, 25 people in the room. They're getting ready to take me to OR. Maybe not quite that many yet, but they're getting ready to take me down to OR to go back in, find out what's bleeding, try to get that taken care of. And I just remember, like,
were they all calm? And
they're calm, and I'm like, this is taking too long. That's how it sounded.
Yeah.
This is taking too long.
Oh my God.
And I remember saying that, this is taking too long. And I'm like, I'm going to die right here.
Oh wow.
So they got me in bed. And so I'm just in the bed. I'm in a hospital bed, just a regular room. I remember the nurse saying, just kept telling me to fight, keep fighting. and I sat up in my bed and I gasped one big gasp air and I fell dead.
Oh my gosh. Mm.
The nurse had called it code blue. I think she actually called it before I actually died. And so the crash team was there. Sorry. And so I guess now this is all from Sherry. And I had another visitor in my room. My father had come down the hall because my mother is down the hall recovering. And she hears the code blue. So she hears this.
But they don't know that's you.
Didn't know. She didn't know that was me at that time. They knew. She saw people running down the hall. They called the code blue. My dad's in the room, and my fiance is in the room.
Wow. Hmm.
Anyhow, sorry, it hits me
No,
every time.
that's oh my goodness.
I can't get through it at all.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
wouldn't expect.
So they call it code blue. There's like 25 medical people in the room. Excuse me. They're working on me. Again, this is what they're telling me.
Yeah, because you're gone.
Wow. I'm dead.
So when you say that, you mean your heart's not beating?
My heart is not. I have no. Yeah, it's
gone.
Okay. It's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no activity there, and so they started CPR immediately. They had a bag on me, which was a great thing because there was still some air getting through. Mm-hmm. So they were working on me, like 25 of them is what I hear. And the doctor, the neurosurgeon, Dr. Ramon, he went ahead and opened my neck up right there in my hospital bed and
wow.
And started dipping blood out of my neck with his two fingers, like sticking it in a peanut butter jar.
Wow.
And was just literally just pulling blood out of my neck, trying to relieve the pressure that had built up. They were shocking, CPR, bagging. Pretty intense. Obviously, it went on for quite some time. Again, I'm relying on several very good witnesses. They have the monitors on the wall, and there's a lady on the wall and a video, and they're asking for a pulse, and I need a reading.
Wait, who's asking for that?
So in a lot of your hospital rooms, there'll be other medical people that'll just come in on a flat screen. Okay. That they're not there; they're somewhere else, but they're like, I don't know if they're supervisors or overlooking, but there they are. They're somewhere else, a different office, a different state. Wow. Anyhow, so somebody was definitely wanting some numbers and checking on me. And there wasn't anything to report. There was no activity, but they were working hard.
And so they allowed your dad and Sherry to stay.
They were in a room when I died, and they left them. They didn't.
That's wild.
They did not run them out. I don't think they were thinking as far as.
Yeah, they didn't care.
Because it's
like time was of the essence there.
It breaks my heart that they had to see that, to watch that.
I don't know that they would have left, Yeah.
Yeah. I just think if I was to see my child or my spouse, it just would. It would crush me.
Yeah. But I think something kicks in whenever this is happening to someone you love, and you just have that ability to hang in there. So
and then probably a little bit of, is this really happening, and kind of shock.
Shocking, yeah, for sure.
And so we're getting to the good part.
Okay. All right. I'm excited.
So I'm out. I don't know anything. They're working on me. So I'm laying, obviously, in a hospital bed, and they're giving me CPR. And in a cushion bed, they have to give you CPR that's a little more. I think they give you 2.5-inch compressions in an operating room, and they give you like 3.5 to 4-inch compressions in a bed. So I think I showed you a picture, and so they were doing a good good job.
Wow.
but
Beating you up.
but not good enough. So I open my eyes, and
so you opened your eyes,
yeah.
but
So
did they see you open your eyes?
So no.
Okay.
Here's the deal. I don't see any medical people.
Okay.
I don't see Sherry. I don't see my father. I see the one that matters most.
Mm.
My Lord and Savior
Wow.
was sitting at the foot of my bed,
Mm.
and he had his hands cupped, and he was praying for me.
Oh my gosh.
And he was moving his hand, and I seen him slap my bed right next to my right leg, and I seen his forearm come down on my bed. I must have closed my eyes again. No concept of time. I remember opening my eyes again, and he's still there. My God is at the foot of my bed.
Oh my gosh.
Praying for me.
He's ever interceding, it says.
And I could tell I'm in the hospital room. I don't see anybody else. I can see my legs, my feet, and I see Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
Sitting there, and he's praying for me. And many people, they all want to know, what's Jesus look like? And he looks like the Jesus I grew up knowing. And like, Jesus is not going to appear and you don't know who it is.
Yeah.
The warmth hit me. It was just a warm feeling, and the peace just swept my body. And I'm laying there, and I can see kind of, I'm not floating. I'm in a bed. I can tell I'm in a bed. Maybe my back's elevated a little bit. I don't know, but I could see the Lord. And I'm telling you, I can't explain this to the level that it needs to be. The peace and the warmth, everything was amazing. And in that moment, I knew that was the perfect moment of my life, of my existence. And I knew it. And when I saw him praying for me, I'm like, he's still here. He's still here. And he never left me.
Oh my goodness.
And had a white robe on with a light brown stripe.
Okay, I was going to ask you what he was wearing.
The room was perfect lighting. It was like the sunset. It was the oranges and the golds and the violets and a warmth. And I showed you a picture of one. I took a picture of it was actually a sunrise. So there's some sunrises like that. And it was amazing. The whole room was lit up. It wasn't a super bright light like I've heard other people. It was warmth. It was amazing. Jesus has his own lighting. And it's awesome. And I just know, and that's in the moment, I just like, this is perfect. And I didn't want to leave. And he made the time. He saved my life. I don't know this to be fact. I'll go ahead and share it with you because I don't know. So, I seen him come down with his right forearm, and whether if it was gently or it seemed like it just anyhow. I think it was the last time they shocked me. My leg went to went to the sky. They said that usually there's not a lot of motion when they shock you, maybe a little bit in your legs, but
the years went.
And that's probably when I saw him slap the bed.
Yeah.
And then I opened my eyes again, and he's still there. So I don't.
Which I think is amazing. So why would he slap the bed? Okay. I think it's also because you had witnesses in there that your right leg flew up. And so you're sharing with them, like, he slapped the bed, and they're thinking, yeah, that's exactly. I mean, to me, it's just kind of a confirmation for them. You experienced it, but now they're being able to, like.
Well, they're probably not thinking it at the time.
No, not the time. Like, but I mean, when it's all said and done, and you're telling your story.
Yeah.
And then they're like, seeing that reaction from something that you're saying, he hit the bed, which is pretty amazing to me.
I'm like, wait a minute. I just saw Jesus move his arm. Oh my God, he slapped the bed with his forearm. And again, so I don't know. Here's what I don't know. If I just opened my eyes again and it was just that quick, or if it was minutes later or that evening. I don't have, there's no concept of time. Probably happened right away that I opened my eyes again, and he's just praying for me. Not just, he's praying for me. It just hit me that what an awesome God. We have a God. We have a God that is supernatural, that has the time for me and you all the time, anytime. Because I just start thinking of the millions of people he's helping at the same time, and it's like, it's mind blowing.
Yeah. And
that he chose for me to see him. I didn't have to see him. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to. I would have given him glory without him being there.
Yeah.
Had I lived.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted me to know. That he loves me.
Yeah.
And somebody pretty special has shared that with me for years, that he's crazy about me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you ever doubt that?
No.
In your life, did you ever feel?
I always I felt I didn't feel like I had a good testimony.
Here you go.
And yeah. And so, I'm.
What do you mean by that?
Going through life. Well, people just come to the Lord. I was at church camp, or I was at my friends on their couch, and I just, or something happened, and it got, and so I've gone through, and I accepted the Lord at an early age, and God has carried me so many times, and I was aware of that.
Yeah.
But I'd hear people's testimony, where it was just amazing, and I'm like, God, I don't have a great testimony, and I know I've shared that with Sherry often. I'm like, man, I wish I had. Not jealous, but I'm like, so it almost sometimes I'd even doubt my, do you love the Lord, Chris? Because you don't have a great,
Yeah.
And I was married for a long time, and I know I was married 22 years, and God carried me through that. There is no way I could make it, and there's no way I could have made it without him. And I knew that, and I give him everything.
Yeah.
Because and so I got a testimony now. You
do, and you always have. It's amazing that you're saying that, because I've always said that about myself. I just don't have this. I have a boring testimony.
Yeah.
You know, I came to know the Lord when I was young. I was raised in a Christian home, and I'd always went to church, and it was just kind of evolved into that. I mean, I remember the moment that I received Christ, and I, at a very young age, felt different.
Yeah.
But I knew something had happened inside of me.
Right.
But not everyone has that feeling, and that's okay. It's about faith.
Right.
It's not about feelings. But
yeah.
I have said that all my life. Someone would say, "Why don't you give your testimony?" And I'm like, I don't really have one. I mean, in fact, in one of the very first episodes we did, we talked about this, and my friend kind of said the same thing. And then she came back and said, I really felt convicted for saying that, because that's an amazing testimony that,
Right.
God has basically, what you're saying, carried you through.
Oh,
And we look at people and think, oh my gosh, these amazing testimonies where, they were in the pit and God brought them out, and, miracles happened. But it's a miracle that we came to know him and stayed.
Yeah. When I say that now, looking back, I'm kind of ashamed of myself, because I know God was there with me. He never left.
Yeah, he never left.
He's still here.
Yeah.
And
I've been listening to some near-death experiences. There's John Burke. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he wrote the book Imagine Heaven, I think is the name of it. I should have known this, because it's a 4-hour long podcast, and I've listened to it twice within the last week. It's just been amazing to hear these stories. But what you have said, a couple of things that was so amazing to me. Number one was you were talking about the light. And that's what most of the people, he's interviewed over 1,000 people, even from different countries, who, like Muslims, Hindus, that have a near-death experience, and they see Jesus. You would think they'd see their God if it was just, not really. I mean, people try to explain it away. Doctors try to explain away why people have these experiences, like it's not really real.
Right.
But that's what he was saying, is these people, why didn't they see their God that they worshiped then? They saw Jesus, and it was him, and they saw the, nail prints in his hands, and they knew it was Jesus, and they would come back and tell everyone, that it was Jesus, and he's the real deal. I mean,
how awesome is that, to be
amazing.
a different faith, and to have our Lord show the gates to them.
Yeah.
And then bring them back.
Yes.
And what kind of testimony they have. And they didn't even believe in Jesus before.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's
powerful. It's really amazing. So the light, and then there was something else. One person said, everybody would want to know, what was he wearing, or what did he look like, and they said the same thing you did.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And one was like, he had a white robe on with some gold, and then there was something else what else did you say?
It's just the peace that swept me, and just warmth. Man, I have never felt that way, ever, never.
Oh,
ever.
Time.
And time.
When you were saying the time, so there's
no
time, no sense of time. And so they said the very same thing. It's like, there's no rush, and there's no, they had no idea how long they were with him at that moment, I love just hearing those three things, because I've just been reading and listening to all of these near-death experiences that are so similar.
I've recently started reading about it. It's pretty raw for me the first 6 months or so, just humbling and grateful. And it just brings me to my knees. It just, some people are cheering, and for me, I'm just grateful. Because there's only one reason I'm here, and that's my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
I was dead a long time.
Yeah.
And he saved me when modern medicine couldn't.
Yeah.
and I'm grateful.
Yeah, we can tell. We can tell you're grateful.
And when I come to in the hospital, I think it was late at night or early in the morning. I don't know. I was probably out a long time. And I had an amazing nurse, Mitch. Got his name right for a change. I was reading my notes this morning. Sherry encouraged me to write when I got out of the hospital, and I wrote a
awesome.
bunch. And he would shine this little light in my eyes, and it was, I could tell it was dark. You know, it was quiet, and it's usually not quiet in a hospital. And so I was in the neuro trauma intensive care, and I was in the hospital 6 days, 4 days in the intensive. And this guy was a rock star, man. He would shine a little light in my eye, and I'm tied to the bed because I'm trying to pull out my breathing tube. And so I'd hear that I wasn't a good patient, whether I was trying to pull it out before. And so they restrained me, which is not cool.
But normal, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I have this breathing tube, not a trach, but a breathing tube. Or did I say that? Yeah. So they didn't. It was just a breathing tube. So he's like, "Man, I promise we take that out. We're gonna talk all night." And I was pointing to my feet, and I would point to my feet, and then I would point up because I can't move my arms. I only had about a 3 or 4 inch movement, and I kept doing that. And,
oh my gosh.
And he's like, "What are you trying to tell me? Because he was the first one that I saw when I came.
Oh my goodness.
Come back.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to tell him that Jesus. And it was pretty awesome. He was a great nurse.
Did you get to tell him?
The next, he was off for the next few days. When they took my breathing tube out, which I think was the next day, I was in there a long time.
Did you tell any of your nurses or any of the doctors?
I don't know that I shared with a lot of people except Sherry and my kids and some friends that were there.
What were your kids' reaction?
I think everybody was in shock. My brother come in and he said, "I can tell you've seen the Lord." Wow. Whether he was kidding or not, but I'm like, but I was so weak. I mean, I was very weak.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat me up just with CPR, and I just wasn't moving very. I was, yeah. But I told them all right away. And I wish I could have told the surgeon that saved my life, and I still may. He wasn't the original surgeon. Funny little backstory. It's not funny. It's awesome. My buddy was in an accident, and he was going to need neck surgery, and he went and had a consultation with this same surgeon that saved my life, and he thanked him for saving my life, and he remembered me, and
I'm sure he did.
He said it was a miracle that I was still in the hospital. He said God had his hands on that boy.
Whoa.
And for a neurosurgeon to give God credit is probably pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Because they're at the top of the food chain.
Yeah. I love what Sherry told you to do, to go home and write down what happened.
Yeah.
Speaking of a neurosurgeon, I read a book several years ago about a neurosurgeon who had been raised Christian, but then went to college and, all the science and all the things and then he decided that he didn't believe anymore, ended up getting meningitis, died, went to heaven, had all this experience. But when he came back, and he had heard lots of near-death experiences from his patients, but he didn't believe it. He could, explain it away medically and all of that, and some part of the brain, and but then it happened to him. And when he came back, his son, he couldn't wait. He wanted to talk to all these people who have experienced these same things. And, he just couldn't wait to visit with people. and hear their story and tell his story. And his son said, Dad, you need to write down your story first.
Right.
So you're not influenced by what they're saying.
Right.
And it's your experience. And then, you can compare. Right. And so he did. And he said, he just travels the country telling people that Jesus is real and this is real. And a lot of the people in this podcast I was listening to, that's basically they're back here to tell people what happened, and that Jesus is,
he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And for anybody out there that has the fire insurance, just in case, you don't need fire insurance.
What do you need?
You need the Lord.
Yeah.
And you don't need to hope. You just know.
You need to know. That's so good.
And
so probably to say that it changed you would be an understatement, but what do you see differently now?
Oh my gosh.
What's the biggest change in you?
Sure, it would be a good one to ask, but
I know we can't get her to get over here.
There you go. It
Tell me, before this experience, what was your Christian walk like? I mean, how would you describe it?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. So I, loved the Lord, believed in the Lord, went to church, but I was selfish. I still lived for Chris, and I can't honestly say that I was living for Christ.
In what way?
Just slowing down and listening to people and to help and just to be kinder and for my words to be just to try to be more Christ-like. What would God want you to do, Chris?
That's good.
Instead of, hey, I'm going to do this weekend, or I'm going here, or I'm going to. It's just it has definitely changed my heart, changed my walk with God. How could it not?
Yeah.
It has just more than anything. I see people more. I hear them, and we go through life, and we just do our own thing. You know, we're busy. Everybody's busy doing life, and sometimes we don't take the time to listen to this person or that one, or to lean in. And so
that's really good.
I try to lean in.
That's really good.
I've got some lyrics to a song I might read you here in a minute, but on the Mercy Me, can I take it?
Sure, absolutely. Well, you're getting that. One of the things that I feel you're saying and experiencing too, from some of the stories I've recently heard, is the acceptance that people feel and the love when you're talking about the peace that you had, and how that felt when you were just you and him right there, and we're in his presence, we exist in his presence, but you experienced something a little bit deeper. And I think, man, the message, after hearing what these people were saying, and these were people who had from all different backgrounds. I mean, these weren't people who went to church every Sunday and shouted from the mountaintops their testimony of who God is. I mean, these were people who were businessmen, and they were living their lives, and some of them were agnostic. And I mean, but when they were in his presence, they didn't feel condemnation. They didn't feel like, oh gosh, I wish I would have. I mean, I'm sure they felt like, when they came back, oh, I wish I would have lived a more meaningful life or whatever. But in his presence, they were feeling love and acceptance and mercy and grace and worthiness and all the things that he sees us as being. They weren't feeling condemned or unforgiven. And it was amazing to me that I just think, one of the scriptures he used was, Jesus said, I didn't come to condemn the world, but I came that the world through me might be saved and have joy and have an abundant life. I mean, that's what he came to do, not to condemn us,
God didn't save me from something. He saved me for something. And
yeah,
I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I share my share my story. Oh my gosh, I would not have done this before. Parking lots, at doctor's offices, at people that don't believe, that'll just start crying.
I love it.
And people that kind of believe a little bit, and then will just tears.
Do you have a certain story of maybe somebody
yeah. So I was going to a different chiropractor after for a lower back problem. And he was a fill-in. It was a new chiropractor, and he was a young guy. And he knew about my neck surgery. I had it on all the notes because, don't touch my neck.
Yeah.
We're not.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
We just had fusion 5, 6, 6, 7 fused with a big old metal Band-Aid right here underneath. Don't touch my neck.
Yeah.
So we were talking, and he goes, "Oh, my father-in-law, he's getting ready to have that same surgery." And he goes, "Would you tell me about it? How the surgery was?" And I'm like, "Well, do you want the whole story, or do you want to? What do you want me to tell you about?" Because I said I coded, and mine was a little bit different story, and it doesn't happen often with this practice. It had only happened one other time in the years and years.
Oh my!
Wow! And unfortunately, that person lost brain activity as a result, and it's a miracle that I.
It sure is.
So I told him, I said, I just told him what I visited with you about, and just told him about God. And I'm like, "You believe in the Lord?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm a science guy." He goes, I don't know if I really believe in God. I'm not opposed to it. So I asked him that before I told him my testimony. I guess that's a testimony.
Yeah.
And this big old guy, his tears are just, young guy, mid-20s, just big old muscle guy, and he's tearing up, and he didn't know if he believed in the Lord or not. And I hope he does now. But
he's tearing up in your story.
Yeah. Oh, and when I talking about the Lord, wow. He is, and just people at work that I don't even know. I got people stopping me at work sometimes, and I work in a place it's pretty hectic. Not a lot of people talk about the Lord where I'm at, and it's just it's so neat when I get to share with people there. I shared with my I just share with a lot of people. I got a lot of stories, and,
I love it.
And all of them, they're like, "Oh man, the hair standing up on my neck," and they'll cry, and it's just so it's awesome. The old Chris would not have done that. I just and then that's why I told God, I'm like, "God, this is your journey, your story. I'm just, hey man, use me, but I will share it." And he'll throw me a big old slow softball every once in a while. I'm like, "Okay, Lord, I'm going to swing at this one." And so I don't run from that because I'm proud of it, that God saved me. I'm thankful. I am grateful. I did nothing. I don't deserve it. The nurses in the neurotrauma intensive care, they call me the comeback kid.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And Mitch is like, "You're the comeback kid. You're the comeback kid." And I'm like, I'm a child of God. I'm just a child of God. I don't know. I did nothing. I do remember getting up after a few days to walk, and I couldn't walk. And later I'd heard other people that had died and they've asked me, like, could you walk afterward? I'm like, "No, I couldn't walk." And so that was kind of a neat little part of it. Was probably I was in bed for 3 or 4 days. That probably didn't help. But when I went by the nurses' stations, I could just see their eyes, and they were like, "Wow, that guy's alive."
My goodness, yeah.
I just remember their faces, and
what
just
a miracle.
Great group at Cox. I give them props. They definitely from lining the halls to holding elevators to, and again, it was perfect timing. All the other hospitals with this procedure, they send you home that day. It's not an overnight. I would not be here.
Thank the Lord.
It just,
yeah.
It was perfect timing. I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah, I don't either.
God put those people there.
Yeah. That
should have went home, and to have one of their main neurosurgeons that was in the same group that was, I remember, I'm like, and him even saying it's a miracle that I was here because I shouldn't even been here. And there was no time. I mean, I literally, I mean, they did this in my bed, to save my life, to get me down to the OR again. So grateful, thankful.
That's so amazing.
But I'm not the comeback kid. I'm just,
you got to come back, kid.
So let me read this.
Go ahead and read that.
Yeah, it's just a Mercy Me song. Today it all begins. I'm seeing my life for the very first time through a different lens. Yesterday I didn't understand. Driving 35 with a rocket inside. Didn't know what I had. I've been waiting to live. My life's been waiting on me. I'm going to run. I'm going to fly. So,
wow.
I didn't know what I had.
Now you do.
And I had, I mean, I knew God was there. I knew He's helped me. I knew, but I didn't. And I was like, God, why did you show yourself to me? Well, you didn't have to do that. Maybe He's like, you're kind of like Thomas. I don't know. Maybe He's like, I need you to see me. And people are like, well, that was a good dream you had. And I'm like, yeah, when you have surgery, they put medicine in the drugs they're giving you so you don't remember anything. Because I think they told Sherry he won't remember anything. And oh man, what a mighty God. I remember God. Yeah. I remember Jesus right there. He's not going to let me forget that.
No. He's
more powerful than any medicine or any drug.
And one of the things that you said about He's been with me he's always been with me. That was another thing that Jesus said to a lot of the people who had the near-death experiences. He would some of them, He would play their life back. Not everybody.
Yeah.
But every single time when they would see this, what happened when they were a child in this event, in this event, they said, you were with me? And He said, I've always been with you.
I've always been there.
And so that's exactly what you just said.
So I didn't see my life. I don't think I was in heaven. I think God came to my hospital room and saved my life right there in my room with 25 people in the room.
Because He had to hit your bed so your leg would go up and your family would witness this.
But it's like, people are like, did anybody else see the light? And I'm like, again, He's a supernatural God we serve. The Bible is full of supernatural stories.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that that's the only thing I remember. I don't remember my final gasp for air.
You don't.
I don't.
Yeah.
I remember some of the, but I remember the main. I remember the main event, and I've told Sherry, I'm like, I've already given God notice that the next time we meet face to face, after I get off my knees, I'm going to give Him the biggest hug.
I love that.
Yeah. He's a mighty God.
Well, He has chosen you to be His witness. And in Isaiah, I just wanted to read that to you because it made me think of that. In Isaiah 43, and He was speaking over Israel, but He's speaking to you right now. You are my witness, declares the Lord, my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me and understand that I am He. Before me no God was formed, nor shall there be any after me. I am the Lord, and besides me there is no Savior. And then it says some other things. I chose you. And it's if he's saying, you are living proof that I am real. You're it. You have personally experienced my provision, my protection, and all that I have foretold and fulfilled. I choose you to bear witness that I am God.
It's good stuff. It's powerful, and a lot of people think of God as not real, but not in everyday life. They think of the historic events, and just man, he's with you every day.
Yeah.
And people say, "My gosh, how lucky are you to see the Lord?" And I'm like, I'm very lucky. I'm very, very grateful. And I'm like, but I've told several people this. You want to see the face of God? You go look at that sunset tonight.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the face of God.
Mm-hmm.
You look at that sunrise.
Yeah.
And that's your Lord right there.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah, my life is changed. Oh my God, I'm the best man I've ever been. I'm a better man, and I got an awesome woman.
Yeah, you do.
And I love her, and just so grateful. Yeah. It's humbling. I can't not get down every time I share this. It just brings me to my knees, and I'm like, God, I don't want to be able to tell this, not my journey, your journey, without just being humbled.
Yeah.
And I know for the days and days, or every night in the in the hospital, I just lay there and cry. I wasn't bawling, but my eyes, and I'm like, oh, I know the nurses are watching me and the lights are out. But I just was so humbled.
Yeah.
Grateful. Because I knew that was a miracle. I knew God saved my life.
Yeah.
And there was no question.
Yeah, no question.
And the fact that he chose me for me to see him.
Yeah. Because he knew you would tell it. He's just looking for those that are just willing to tell a story.
He saved me for something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And for this moment even.
Possibly so.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me again. Like I would not have had the courage to. I mean, that wasn't what I did before, but now it's like, heck yeah.
You're going to have lots of opportunities, Chris, to share your story, and you already have, and because you're willing to do that. I mean, he's just looking for a willing vessel, and he chose you because he knew that you would.
He's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And he's crazy about me.
He sure is. He sure is.
Yep. Yeah. He's crazy about all of us.
Yeah.
He loves us.
He loves us.
Yeah. And he's still here.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that's my story. That's God's story.
Yeah.
And it happens every day. That's the miracle part. It's amazing. You read about in these books, and
yeah.
Some people are different. I read about people in heaven. I wasn't in heaven. He came to me right where I was at. He met me right where I was at. And someday
which is what he does to all of us, right where we are. He meets us there. You got to experience it just a little different, but
someday.
Yeah.
We'll be dancing.
Yeah. Do you like to dance?
I am back in the day.
Back in the day. All right. Oh my goodness. I feel like I don't even know things to ask you. And you've done such a great job of sharing your story anyway. But it's just these stories have, like I said, this past week, I've been listening to like 8 hours of near-death experiences, and they have inspired me so much. And it does leave you speechless, really, that God would, in your case, for lack of a better way of saying it, come down to you, meet you here in your room, or whether he takes us, someone into his presence in heaven or whatever. The point is that, he does whatever it takes to get us to know him. And that's really what's happened to you, is that you are coming to know him in a way you've never known him before.
Right. And I have to read the Bible more. I read it every day, but I have to memorize, and I need to be able to put the armor on for the Lord. He doesn't need me, but I want to do that. And so I know I have, that's my challenge right now.
Yeah.
Just get in, lean in, learn more. And, but I've read a lot of these stories too. They're all different, but similar. The peace and the warmth and the light.
Oh, yeah.
Some is a really bright light. Others, others are in heaven. And,
well, they say in heaven, there's no need for the sun or the moon because of his light. And so that's why people see light when they see him. He is light.
Yeah.
And I love that. But he just meets us where we are, accepts us as we are, because everything that he did on the cross and everything that he is, when we come to know him, is in us, already in us. You already had all those things in you.
Right.
But we just have to recognize who we are.
Right.
When we become saved, we are those things. We are righteous. We are sanctified. We are his righteousness.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that people struggle with and maybe give up and quit on their Christian walk because they have failed, or they, can't seem to get past this or past that. And God's not even concerned with those things. He's concerned with our heart. And once that becomes in line with him, all those other things get fixed eventually.
Absolutely.
So I love just hearing, who you are today compared to who you thought you were before. And
I thought I'm a Christian. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm going to heaven.
God's got me. I'm going to heaven. But it's just
so much
more. Whole
more.
New perspective. I'm so grateful that he gave me the opportunity to have this life.
You're experiencing the abundant life now.
Oh, I'm on. It was God's time.
Yeah.
Before it was Chris's time,
Uh-huh.
and it's now. This is all his.
Don't you love it?
It's pretty awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Pretty awesome. Grateful.
What was that line of that song where it says, "My life was waiting for me"? What did it say? That you just had. I want to kind of end with that.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And who's that song by?
Mercy Me.
Mercy Me.
Love those guys. I've been waiting to live. My life's been waiting on me.
That's so good.
That good stuff.
Yeah. So I just pray that if you're out there doubting, is this real? Is God real? Maybe you're not feeling like you experience God in your life, or you're just searching for what the truth is. I just pray that, he's being a witness, and that's exactly what I read in Isaiah, that God has chosen him to be a witness, to tell you that he is your Savior. He is the one and only God. And so I just pray that you open your heart right now and let God minister to you the truth. And you've heard the truth tonight. And so thank you again just for sharing and being a witness of what God is doing in your life. And I know it's going to have such an impact on people. And I can't wait to just see what all God has in store for you. You're already walking in it.
Right.
And it's not one great big thing. It's just an everyday thing.
That's right.
And he's using you every single day, Chris. And thank you for being willing to share. Those stories are hard to share sometimes, because you think, are people going to think I'm crazy? But that's okay.
As I told, it's God's story.
It's God's story. Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you again for tuning in, and share this with people. People need to hear Chris's story of hope and inspiration and truth. And it's just an amazing story. And thank you again, Chris. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.